Today we're diving into the Netflix live-action adaptation of the beloved anime and manga series One Piece. I know, you're probably thinking, another live-action anime adaptation? How bad is it going to be? I'm happy to say that it's not as bad as you might expect. In fact, it's actually pretty good. One Piece is one of the most popular and beloved anime and manga series of all time. It tells the story of Monkey D. Luffy, a young boy who dreams of becoming the king of the pirates, and his crew of colorful and quirky friends. The series has been running for over 20 years and has over 1000 chapters and episodes. It's a masterpiece of adventure, comedy, drama, and fantasy. But how does it translate to live action? That's the question that many of you have been asking since the adaptation's been announced. The same goes for me. Of course, I had some cautious optimism, since the things I saw about the adaptation process were very indicative of a good adaptation, so I wasn't too concerned. Of course, there were the concerns of how the visual effects would look, or if they would just butcher up the story, or maybe they would do it too faithfully and not adapt but simply copy-paste, which would be bad on in itself, because that would mean cringy and just ridiculous scenes that would just put off everybody, anime and non-anime fans alike. So, as for my first impressions of the first two episodes, I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed them. First of all, let's talk about the casting. The actors who play the main characters of Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, and Sanji are mostly spot on. They look like their anime counterparts, they have the same personalities and quirks, and they deliver their lines with passion and humor. Especially Luffy, who is played by Naki Godoy, who nails the role of rubber boy with a big dream. He captures Luffy's innocence, optimism, charisma perfectly. He also does a great job with action scenes, which brings me to my next point. The action scenes are awesome. The choreography, the special effects, the cinematography, everything is well done and exciting to watch. The fight between Luffy and Buggy in episode 2 is a highlight, as we see how Luffy uses his rubber powers in a creative and hilarious ways. Buggy, by the way, is another great casting choice. He's played by Jeff Ward, who brings out the clown's arrogance and mannerisms flawlessly. The interactions between him and Luffy are hilarious. The story is also faithful to the original manga, at least for the most part. The first two episodes cover the first two arcs of the manga, the Romance Dawn arc and the Orange Stone arc. They introduce the first three main characters and their motivations, as well as some of the key concepts of the One Piece world, such as Devil Fruits, Grand Line, and Four Shadows Haki. The episodes follow the manga closely with some minor changes and additions to make it more suitable for live-action format. Of course, the adaptation is not perfect. There are some flaws and weaknesses that I have to point out. For one thing, the pacing is a bit rushed. The episodes try to cram in too much content into a short time span, which makes some scenes feel rushed and glossed over. Overall though, I think the Netflix live-action adaptation of One Piece is a pleasant surprise. It's not perfect, but nowhere near terrible either. It's a fun and mostly faithful adaptation that captures the spirit and essence of One Piece. It has great actors, great action scenes, and great storylines. It's definitely worth watching if you're a fan of One Piece or if you're curious about it. I'm looking forward to watching more episodes and seeing how they adapt the rest of the saga. That's it for my review of episodes 1 and 2 of One Piece Netflix live action. What did you think of them? Did you like them or hate them? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe, as I'm going to do reviews for the rest of the episodes very soon. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.